Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Christine Smith, and I'm an assistant professor of cognitive science at the University of Florida. Thanks for tuning into the video, and for today's topic, we're going to talk about reproductive behavior. So the major topics in reproductive behavior, as you'll see, are sex and hormones, including activational and organizational effects, parental behavior, and you'll also read about variations in sexual behavior, so variations in mating, gender identity, and sexual orientation. This figure shows the structure of the gonads as they appear 6 weeks after fertilization. Notice at this stage of development, each fetus, regardless of its genetic sex, so whether it's XX or XY, has the same pair of gonadal structures called primordial gonads. Each primordial gonad has an outer covering, or cortex, which has the potential to develop into an ovary, and each has an internal core, or medulla, that has potential to develop into a testes. 6 weeks after conception, the SRY gene on the Y chromosome of the male triggers the synthesis of SRY protein, and this protein causes the medulla of each primordial gonad to grow, and this causes the development of testes. There's no female counterpart of the SRY protein. In the absence of SRY protein, only cortical cells of the primordial gonads automatically develop into the ovaries. Accordingly, if the SRY protein is injected into a genetic female, fetus 6 weeks after conception, the result is a genetic female testes. If you block the effects of SRY protein in genetic males, you get a genetic male with ovaries. Here what we have is the further development of the male and female systems. Without any influence, you get the development of the female system. So I'm going to start over here. So we have a female who is XX, and the primordial gonads will develop into ovaries. So this leads to the development of what's known as the Mullerian system. So this gives us the internal female reproductive system. So we have the fallopian tubes, uterus, and inner vagina. We also have the development of the primordial external genitalia in the outer reproductive organs as well. So we have the Wolffian systems, which is the male systems, wither away. And again, this takes no hormones. This is just what naturally happens with no influence of hormones if you're XX. Developing into a male is a little bit more complicated. Remember, we already have the SRY genes and the SRY protein. So we already have other factors involved. So with the SRY protein present, we have primordial gonads develop into testes. We also require the anti-Mullerian hormone for males to develop. This causes defeminization. So this will lead to withering away of the Mullerian system. We also require androgens. 2 different androgens are required for the masculinization of the system. We have testosterone from the testes required to create the Wolffian system or to develop the Wolffian system. And this results in development of the vas deferens, seminal vesicles, and the prostate. We also have dihydrotestosterone, which is DHT. This is a form of testosterone, so testosterone plus an enzyme called pi-alpha reductase that results in DHT. And this is required for the development of the male external genitalia. So one way we think about this is really the nature's impulse is to create female, and we need all of these other factors in order to have a normal development of the male reproductive system. Prenatal influence on the fetus by reproductive hormones can influence brain and behavior. When testosterone, for example, influences the development of the brain, we know that there are sexual dimorphic nuclei within the brain of male and females, so they're different between males and females. If you have a permanent effect of hormone on behavior, this is called an organizational effect, and this oftentimes happens during development, so in the prenatal period. We also have activational effects of hormones, so these are temporary effects of hormones on behavior. So think about activational effects as being something that happens, for example, during puberty. We have different activities of hormones. We also have activational effects of hormones in terms of increases in testosterone that relate to changes in behavior. So organizational effects, then permanent effects on behavior. Oftentimes, these organizational effects happen during development. and they organize the brain in a way that they'll respond to hormones in a certain way later in life. Activational effects then are temporary effects of hormones and can influence the way an individual behaves. All right, so that's it for today's lecture. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.